What's going on, everybody? This is Pharaoh Black. I'm bringing you a new segment. This is Knowledge is Power 101. Now, the purpose of this whole entire segment, me even creating this, is to help you guys pose your figures better. This isn't just for, the kids. This is for your big boys too, who think you got it down packed, and I'm here to tell you that you don't. I mean, you might feel the same way about me, but just shut up right now and listen, because I don't care. You're going to listen to what I got to say, because you need to. But no, seriously. I see a lot of posing. I see a lot of likes on pictures. And I mean, they're good efforts, but then some of the posing is just, people can't tell the difference between natural posing and what I like to call natural comic posing. They're two different things, and sometimes people try to mix the two in between, and they just can't come up with a perfect balance. So I'm going to use Henrietta here, and if you notice, if you watch my Knowledge is Power video with her in the background and everything, you'll notice that you notice that it's the same setup. It's because I came up with this maybe a minute after I got done filming the Knowledge is Power. So I figured I'd let you guys know some things. This is more of a natural pose. Now, let's see if I'm going to come in. Let's see if I can focus in. Okay. Now, the accessory she comes with actually helped me, do this. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the entire element. Look at the background first. She's in a house and you see her sitting in a chair. But a lot of people don't, they don't realize that, that's a pretty big chair. That's because Henrietta's a little girl. So you would hear a lot of people probably, they'll look at the picture and say, oh, she's drinking a cup of tea. But let's say it'd been nice if she was sitting back. Or it would be nice if she had her elbow up on the handle of the chair. But she's a small girl. And anyone knows that if something's too big, sitting back on a chair, kids typically don't sit back in chairs unless their parents make them. But you're way back. I mean, you're sitting all the way back in the back, and your feet are not even trying to touch the ground. Your feet are sticking out in front of you. I mean, that's not really natural for a child. And having her elbow up on that on the arm of the chair, I mean, how would she rest her arm here? She's too small. That means if she was going to rest her arm here, she'd be sitting there like that. That's stupid. So don't let what you think ruin what it is that you should be actually doing. Now, cup to her mouth. Sometimes it won't fit, so you have to manipulate the shot. But the way she's holding the cup, it's pretty natural. Plate. Now her arms won't allow her to rest the plate. Plus it's rubber on her dress, but she can't rest the plate, flat. But when you're holding something, it's not really flat. It has to be up on end unless her hand is all the way down on her skirt as well, like the plate. But that's not going to happen. I'm not trying to show you under her dress, so I don't want to hear any of that crap. But feet, toes just touching the ground because she's a child. Her feet doesn't reach, they don't reach the floor completely. So, but they are against the floor, the toes. So, I mean, it's a natural pose. I'm going to show you some unnatural poses or some comic natural poses. But that's just, right there, natural pose, sitting there drinking a tea, straight to the point, and you can depict what you want. I mean, look at her eyes. She's not staring down into the cup. Now she could be staring at something else off to the side. She could be thinking, just staring into the stratosphere, like, and really have her mind on something else or planning something. I mean, that's really up to you. A lot of people aren't good at depicting what's going on or realize or looking at something and say, oh, that might be going on. A lot of people aren't good at that. It used to get me pissed. It's like, dude, like, have imagination. But that's just what it is. A lot of people aren't good at it. So you're going to have to basically tell them what you're doing, which kind of ruins certain shots, but it's nothing you could do. So remember that. Try to always tell them what it is you're doing with something, whether it be with another figure, with the figure you're using, primarily with, a cutout, with an effect or something. You got to try to let them know what's going on, because a lot of these guys, especially these guys who figure that they're really good at what they're doing, don't know squat when it comes down to actual photography or, depicting or relaying over emotion. They don't know. So let's get into some comic posing, though. Okay, we're talking about comic fighting. Now, I don't want you to look at the fact that Spider-Man is not looking down at U.S. Agent or the chair or the stand right here. None of that is important because it's not part of the shot. What I want everyone here to look at is the general pose of what's going on. The feel. You know that they're fighting. So what's wrong with the picture? What's wrong is that usually when in comic books, anime, cartoons, whatever, when they're when two characters are fighting, it's always like dramatically like drawn, like they're in these hyper poses that the typical person could not get in. The problem here with this picture, and if you haven't noticed, is really with U.S. Agent. I really want you to pay attention to him. He's being punched in the face from his left side, crossing over to his right. His head is going in the direction that it should. So what's wrong? The body is facing with shoulder down on his left side. So he's falling to the left, but his head is being turned to the right, which is damn near impossible. It can't happen. Well, I guess anything could, but you're taking action shots, so you really don't want to rely on, oh, that could happen. And you guys got to keep your eyes open for stuff like this. When you're taking those pictures, you say, oh, well, he's getting punched in the face, but think about it. If you're getting punched and you were falling down, you got punched in the left side of your face, it was hard enough to turn your head to the right and you were going to fall. Wherever your head goes, your body follows. So if your head turns to the right and you start to fall, more than likely you're going to fall to the right. So that's like one of the biggest things I see with people when taking shots with like with falling shots or people getting hit and they're falling back. I see it all of the time. Secondly, is Spider-Man's pose. Okay, take away the chair. Say he was jumping forward with his right knee outward. And then he has his right hand as the punch, or punching with his right hand. That is, typically if someone is running at you or if they're jumping at you with a punch, you need to draw back. The power has to come from somewhere, which more than likely the hand that you're hitting the person with is going to be cocked back and then thrown forward, to deliver the punch, which means that your right leg wouldn't be forward. It would probably be your left. If you really need help with any of this, go watch some old action flicks, especially karate movies where you have someone run and jump off of something and they're in the air and they're about to punch some guy in the face. Usually, if they're cocking back with the right, their left knee is forward. And you come down into it like a run. It's almost like an air run. So, a lot of that is important when you're doing these shots, And I think a lot of people don't have that packed down. You got to really pay attention to that. So this picture right here, I mean, personally, if I seen that, I would say that's horrible. I mean, it is horrible. I mean, somebody posed this is just garbage. But I mean, it was really just to show you that this here, you can't do that. Okay, for being kicked and being knocked down and falling and everything, you really need a bracer sometimes. So if you don't have a prop to lean him against, you're going to have to find a way for him to be going down, but for him to look like he's actually going down. Now, two things have to happen. One, he needs to look natural. This is one of those shots where you can't just leave the natural aspect out of it, no matter how dynamic you want it to be. You would have to use his arm. Let's just put it like that. There's nothing wrong with using his arm. Now, you want to kind of cover it up sometime, or if he actually has a wrist joint, so maybe you want to try to utilize it like he's bracing himself for the fall. But most people brace themselves for falls, especially superheroes. They're pretty much on top of their game, even when they're getting their ass whooped. So use that arm. Now, if you have to, throw a prop or something in front of it. Throw some other stuff around it, like, oh, well, he's getting beat. And, don't be afraid to do this. And you want to angle it out. Like, see, Spider-Man's foot, they're not touching. So you don't want to, I mean, if you can, you don't want to show that. You don't want it to be like that and leave it up to, oh, well, he's being hit, or it's past the motion of the punch. Past the motion of the punch or the kick would be showing U.S. agent, this is the actual punch or kick. You can kind of see his foot on his face. Past the point would be more like that. It wouldn't be that big gap that I showed you. That's not past the point. You're doing it wrong. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's wrong. So, also, his pose with his arms. Now, you want his arms to be coming back, whatever. I'm going to be honest with you. In my opinion, this is a pretty amateur pose when you have the arms coming back in a V formation. But I'm going to show you a trick for this and for it to look really natural and really, really nice. And here's the trick. Relax him more. I mean, even I could tighten it up a bit with this elbow right there. I wouldn't leave the elbow like that. But you want to relax people a bit. People aren't that stiff, and I see a lot of people just, those poses that they're doing are just like stiff. I mean, he's in motion. He didn't jump in the air and then freeze frame. I mean, you can loosen them up a bit. I mean, and it looks more natural that he's coming down with his arms bent than just straight back like that. I mean, how uncomfortable. I mean, think about you. Think about if you were doing that pose. I mean, a lot of people might say, oh, man, I'm not going to go through all that. Why not? You go through all of that for anything else. You go through everything to set the display up. You go through everything to, make sure that, oh, this prop is in it. This cutout is this crispy. So then, damn it, then make sure that your poses are on point. I mean, and that's more comfortable. I mean, hold your arm. No one can get their arms in that range. No one. Well, no one that I know, at least. But if you could, what you do is just hold your arms to the back, straighten them straight out, far as you can take them, straight back in that V formation like I showed you at first, and see how stiff you feel. Then just take your arms and bend them some, and it releases some of the tension off your arms. You feel more comfortable. I know a lot of comics were drawn like that or whatever, but I mean, we're doing something new here. So it's not bad to do things like this, and it looks better. So, I mean, I want you guys to remember that. Relax the figure. Even with vanilla poses. Here, I'll show you. Okay. You see U.S. Agent just standing there. But what bothers me is how straight his arm is. This one. It's just very straight down to the sides. Now, I'm sure somebody in the world somewhere actually stands like that, I guess. But most people, they don't stand like that. What you want to do is, you want to take the top shoulder, the ball joint, just turn it back one. Now the arm is like this. You just want to bend the elbow at the top and at the bottom, so. And you just want to relax it. Simple. Just relaxed. His arm isn't bent, but his arm is just relaxed. Because unless his hands are like 100-pound lead weights or something, I mean, I don't see him standing like that. He's going to, it's going to relax. And even if so, you want to put a shield on him, for instance. Well, this damn thing doesn't stick on his arm for anything. But the point that I'm making is that if you're going to, it just looks better relaxed. You're going to put him in a pose. You want him standing there vanilla. Relax the arm a bit. It looks a little better. That's just what I'm getting at. So, I mean, try it. When you pull out your figures, try it one way and try it another way. And if you still like it the way that you were doing it, straight arm or whatever, then go for it. But, I'm just trying to offer you guys some options, help you guys out with your pictures, maybe make, tighten things up just a little bit. So, we're moving on. Now, this is what I like to say. This is just the point A to B. Pretty much what you're trying to get out of your shot and the message that you're trying to relay over. Now, here I'm trying to show that Sabretooth has thrown the chair hard enough to knock U.S. Agent, who has deflected it with his shield, back. Chair lands directly on the shield, knocks U.S. Agent back. Now, let's be honest, this wouldn't happen, but I'm just using the stuff that I have sitting around me to show you guys what's going on. This is what I did. I set up the shot first. Basically, how I set it up was starting with Sabretooth. Now, it's kind of hard to show that he's throwing the chair, so you're going to have to kind of do a very dynamic and like a very hyper pose for him throwing the chair, which means you're going to pretty much have to have his arm facing in a way that I would call unnatural, but it's hidden by a lot of the fur and everything else, so it looks like he's just throwing a curveball or something at U.S. Agent. His hand is back because you're more than likely going to get all of that into the shot. Now his feet, no. And who cares? That's not, I wouldn't take a pose like that. But the feet doesn't matter because you're not shooting the feet. Like, so who in the hell cares what the feet are doing? And I think a lot of people mess up and they try to get every single thing into the shot. I mean, use it like a comic book panel. You don't have to get everything into the shot. You just need to get in what you need. And now as far as U.S. Agent goes, I want to move Sabretooth. I have him kind of like balancing on his stand. It's not plugged in anywhere. It's just balancing. But my uncle actually taught me this trick. Now, U.S. Agent has a belt with pockets on it. They're sculpted pockets. So what you do is you use the pockets and you use the his leg or whatever to basically brace the shield in between the two. Leg up hides the fact that it's actually being braced. It's just like his leg is in front of it. And it's after impact, so he jumps in the air or whatever, the shield catches the chair, and then his legs go up. That's the reason why the chair is behind his leg. I mean, the shield, I don't even have the shield in his hands. It's just braced on top of him, but no one cares because you're not even seeing that. His head isn't even, but he's just like he's going back. Now, his feet aren't pointed toe down. Why? Because when you get knocked off of your feet unexpectedly, excuse me, got tongue tied there for a second. But he's not expected to get hit, so he's gotten hit. He's just knocked up off of the ground. So his toes being pointed forward is kind of stupid. You don't have to do that. Now you're thinking too much into the shot. He's just going back. You know, get you a nice camera angle. I like to use this angle. I don't like this angle as much. It works for certain things, but I love shooting things like this. In my opinion, looks very dynamic. Even if you want to go that way, it doesn't give me the look that I like as much. Like this one, it looks like he's actually getting knocked back, but maybe I'm just partial to that one. No, but I mean, pretty good angle of everything. But that's what you really want to do when you're setting up your shots. You really want to say, could this work? You know, like if this really happened, like would it look like that in the comic book or whatever? And then what's the follow through? Follow through would be basically he would get hit, knock back, and you know, wham. You know, just how I showed you, and then back into the wall. You know, and right here I'm going to show you how to pose. Like say he was trying to get up or whatever. Think about what you're trying to do. Is he getting up like with the head shake, or is he just going to bounce back up, or is he like hurt where he's not? Is he going to start like crawling across the floor? I mean, you really have to think about that. So I'm gonna let's see, put the camera down. In my case, he would have been hit. He'd have rolled over like so. So, of course, because his shield would be on this side. A lot of people would put it down like this, but I wouldn't because that's not... He was holding on this side, so when he got knocked down into the wall and he rolled over from the wall, he would probably be like that. I would probably make one hand like this, cover with the shield. I would bend this one upward, and I would use his fist to be getting up with. I mean, that's just because sometimes people do this and get up. You know, I've seen it done in movies enough times to say, hey, the action star does that sometimes, so I'll do it. I mean, there's other things you could do. Of course, I would have his head down. I mean, but if you were the kind that wanted him to be kind of like down, what you would do is you would put that leg back, depending on which way he was laying. If he was laying, you know, to the right, you would obviously do the other leg. And bending the like pigeon toe, I guess is what they call it, like bringing the feet in like that. That's good. You should do that because it's like he's rolling over, trying to get his balance up, or whatever. Just bring the shield right here. I got enough room under that hand to bring that shield and put it up there like that. Now, I do understand that peg and that shield makes it very ugly. And his hand is not on the ground, so you can do something for that as well, just by moving the elbow slightly. I mean the shoulder slightly. And then once you do all of that, what I do is I mash the figure down. That's what I always do. I just mash the figure. Excuse me. Now these are figures, so certain things are just not going to work the way you want to. That's as close as I got his hand down. So what I probably would have done was put the chair there somewhere. Or, you know, I'd have figured it out. I mean, probably did it like that. And that's, you know, probably how I would have done it. And then I probably would have just had Sabretooth already on his ass. And then his position on his feet would have probably made a difference because I'd have probably had Sabretooth walking up over there on him or something. Just be quick about it. So then it's like, or even if I didn't like how that hand was looking, I could move Sabretooth back over here like this. you know. But you just really want to like get pain portrayed. And what do people do in pain? They don't react, like, oh, let me put my hands down on the ground the way they're supposed to be. I mean, people are rolling over on their elbows, their knees, and I mean, so a lot of times the position someone's in when they're in pain or when they just got knocked down or something is, kind of crazy. So I think that when I always talk about emotion, that's what I'm trying to get over. Like, the pain, the joy, the intensity, whatever. So that's pretty much me. Knowledge is power 101. Stay tuned. I might do another one. If you guys like, give me some feedback. Let me know, what you need help on, or if this video was actually helpful at all. If it wasn't, hit the dislike and tell me to go somewhere and jump off a cliff or something. With that being said, this is Pharaoh Black, and as always, peace and love.